It's Tuesday, February 6th. I'm live in Los Angeles. The Geoff Schwartz tomorrow. You, Matt's here, Gabe's here. We're all together in the Blue Duck offices. We'll get to everything to do with the Super Bowl that is on Sunday. We'll cover it with all the storylines, the props, and whatever Gabe's conspiracy theories are about this game. We'll touch on all. But first, we're bringing back all our sponsors for this weekend. Prize Picks. It's a real-based daily fantasy sports game. 2 to 6 players in a square. At the end of the show, we'll have everything for the Super Bowl. It's going to be sort of along the lines of how I think the game's going to go. If it goes like I think it will, which I think it will, then we'll make a lot of money. If it doesn't, I don't know, fade me, I guess. But nonetheless, we'll have that at the end of the show. Also, we're paying off Vaulted, guys. We told you all season long. If you played my season-long game each and every week and you beat me in a given week, and some weeks I was good, some weeks I was bad, you qualified for the $5,000 big game pool. That will be the end of the show. A link will be sent to you. If you have beaten me this season, be on the lookout for that. $5,000 final pool of the season. Be on the lookout. We will talk about Vaulted at the end of the show as we do Prize Picks as well. Gentlemen, it's nice to be here in person. I must have brought the rain because I've never seen rain like this in Los Angeles ever in my life.
You brought it, buddy, but we're glad to have you.
I am so jacked for the Super Bowl. I only have ever been higher on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl than this one. So I'm sure Gabe will knock me down a peg.
Well, we've been around you now for a few Super Bowls, and they've been a part of almost all of them. And I would disagree
4 of them, yeah.
with that premise. I think that
really?
you've been hotter in the past when it was newer and fresher, young love. Now you're starting to take this stuff for granted. You're beginning to be like a Patriots fan. You just expect this.
I did see a Chiefs fan comment yesterday, like, I'm tired of everyone talking about us like we're getting lucky. And I'm like, welcome to winning football. Like, this is what everyone says about when you win.
Heavy as the head.
I made my first wager on last Sunday night, and it was Chiefs money line, like immediately. Like, didn't even think twice about it because in the end, Patrick Mahomes versus Brock Purdy. It's pretty simple to me. No?
Should we just end the podcast?
Done. Chiefs win.
Well, there is actually some breaking news that people are talking about.
Yes.
And the purpose of this show, as I think any loyal listener knows, is to sort of sift through the hot takes out there and have you make us smarter than so many other people try to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I need real analysis.
Okay.
I'm glad you're bringing this up. I know
Which
you're going.
player was attacked by a coyote in the desert? What is the right response from either Andy Reid or Kyle Shanahan? And are we sure it was not Kadarius Toney and the Chiefs made the whole thing up?
Okay. So
And that the coyote wasn't the coaching staff.
for those who missed
Is
it,
this a story that would ever exist outside of Super Bowl week?
no, for those who
Las
missed
Vegas.
it, an account on X that covers Las Vegas tweeted out that a player had been attacked by a coyote
Yeah.
in Lake Las Vegas, which is a man-made lake, which is where the players and the teams are staying this week. It's like 40, 50 minutes outside toward Lake Mead. It did not say whether or not the coyote was attacking a current player on one of the two teams. Maybe it was a player visiting. It does feel like,
As your brother accounted for.
yes,
You know that he's
my brother's there.
Right, fair enough.
Like, you have to think, like, which player on the team would like be like, "Hi, coyote, let me talk to you," and then just like maul the coyote. I mean, maul the human. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Kittle might be a guy that was like into like coyotes.
I think he would know.
I think like Creed or like Trey Smith would be like maybe into like saying hi to coyote. I don't know. It has to be like someone who's like into like maybe wanting to be friends with a coyote.
My thought on, I'm going to go the other way. I think that George Kittle, for instance, has probably spent a lot of time in nature. I imagine him hunting. I don't know if that's true or not. I think he would know well enough to stay away from a coyote.
You mean with someone who's never seen one before?
I think it's a guy who's like only ever been to the zoo, maybe. Like, I had a friend who moved out to the suburbs from the city when I was a kid. And we saw a raccoon out in the middle of the day, and he went over to pet it. And we were like, dude, no. He'd just never seen a raccoon. It'd look cute to him. Maybe it's a guy who's just never been out in nature.
Yeah, but it's a fair point. Why would they go talk to? I don't. It just makes no sense unless a pack of coyotes attacked them.
Well,
do you think we'll find out who this person is by the end of this week?
Well, it's a missed opportunity by all the folks at Media Day, because that's actually the story going on at Super Bowl week. It's 100%. Media Day. This is when you are allowed to ask the stupidest questions possible. We could have had people like the PMT guys could have been drilling into this story and getting us the real facts and information. Instead, we're speculating. So, Geoff, from a player's perspective, What is actually happening on media day? Is it just a day where you're like, screw it, let's waste some time and let these people mess with us? Or are you trying to accomplish something?
Well, now the goal of media day obviously is to get out of not saying anything stupid, right? I mean, and then both teams did that essentially. They said nothing dumb the entire time. I think the media is trying to get something from these guys. And now we saw there was some foolish questions like to ask Kadarius Toney if he's number one wide receiver, and he gave you the answer like, "Oh, I think I am." I mean, like,
Kermit the Frog thing with Mahomes.
Yes, the best question that anyone asked at media day, and it didn't happen this season because Dave Dameshek did not go. Is Dave Dameshek would go and ask everyone if it was a must-win game. Yeah. And it's the best bit going. It's unbelievably great. I don't think he did it this year. But yeah, I mean, look, you just go and you try not to say anything stupid. I will say, though, coming out of it, it seemed like, I mean, Niners fans booed Travis Kelce. But it seemed like they gave him more motivation at Super Bowl. But it seems like coming out of that, it's like a lot of Niner fans, a lot of animosity toward the Chiefs. The Chiefs are very likable. They're a likable team. I don't think anyone on that team you dislike. The coach is likable. But it does seem like the last couple of weeks there's been a little heel turn. Like they're sort of becoming what dynasties become, which is basically beloved by the fan base, hated by everyone else, and found every way to sort of knock down. And it seems like they're embracing that mode of it. Now, the underdog stuff, because they're underdog again, I get playing into that. But my takeaway coming out of that was the Chiefs, I think, feel more of an underdog because of the fans were booing there and just sort of the atmosphere that we saw at media night. It's wild. I went to one of those when my brother was there, and it's intense, man. Like, if you've not been there before, it's sort of, I mean, all the media is there from all over the world. Yep. They have 10 players on podiums. My brother was one of the 10 players. They have some on the big podium, and then they have like a whole production. They introduce the Buffer guy, right? One of the brother was Bruce Buffer, right? He's the one who announced him last night. Like, it's a big deal. And I think you just try to get through it, move it on. I mean, the scandal right now, besides the Coyotes, is the practice field situation, and that was that wasn't even really covered because both guys were like, "I'm over talking about this."
Yeah. Well, it's also it's a little bit like going out on New Year's Eve, where you're like, "Oh, like you all are doing this, but you don't do this every weekend." Like it's people asking these ridiculous questions to Patrick Mahomes. It's like such a weird environment. And then when you're just part of the media and you go, there's just like. The punter is just like walking around.
Yes.
And you like bump into a guy and you're like, I know who you are. You're like Isaiah Pacheco. And you're just like wandering around.
So for the 10, it's a good point. For the 10 players that are not on the podiums, the other ones just wander. Like the area. And the media is, of course, in there as well. And that's get the weird interactions where you get to those places weird. And like
coordinators
It's just a very interesting situation. Again, if you haven't been there, maybe it's overwhelming, but then you get Tuesday. Typically, you get Tuesday off, and you start preparing Wednesday for the game. I thought something interesting come out of all this with the Chiefs supposedly practicing full pads outside yesterday in the rain, which is interesting because they don't practice in pads like after week 3 or 4 probably, and they do a lot of walkthroughs. And to come out this week and say like we're going to go in pads and have a little physical practice is unique. I wonder if they're preparing for the physical nature of the Niners offense, knowing they're going to run the football, and just wanted to sort of ramp things back up mentally and kind of remind the players like this is what we're playing. It's one of those games where we need to see that physicality come through.
Yeah.
My job is to present you with takes. I have some takes.
Okay, let's hear.
This one, this is my take.
Okay.
I mean, I could pretend it's somebody else's take, like our buddy Nick Wright and some other people who have been obviously all over Pat Mahomes. But here's the take. If Pat wins this Super Bowl, we can just end GOAT conversations. It's not really fun. I get it. 7 rings Brady, 3 Pat, but who cares? 3 under 30 with no down years and all the stats, and the team was built because of him, around him, to him. We just give him GOAT and move on, right? Never have to talk about it again.
Well, people will talk about it because some people are fixated on the rings discussion, right? Where like the rings, like it's a Jordan LeBron thing, right? Where like, LeBron, I'd argue LeBron, I have no problem saying this. I think LeBron's a more talented player than Jordan. It doesn't mean he was a quote, better player and he didn't win more championships, but Mahomes is the more talented quarterback than Brady, like physically talented. I don't think anyone disagrees with that, but he hasn't obviously won the amount of times Brady has won. But early in his career, he's made more AFC championship games. I mean, more Super Bowls. He wins his 3rd Super Bowl. That's obviously more. Brady obviously had 3, but they also the way Mahomes is doing them is different than Brady did. Brady was led by defense early in his career. Right. This is the first season Mahomes has really had a top 10 defense, even though at times when they've won Super Bowls, the defense has played at the end of the season like a top 10 unit, especially last year they played better down the stretch. I just find these debates like kind of useless. I mean, I know they're important for sports talk radio and other things I do, but Brady, one of the best ever, the best ever. I don't know how you argue that Mahomes is not on the same level. Win or lose in this game. And even if they lose this game 31-30, are we saying Mahomes like is not on the same level as Brady just because he lost the game? That's it. Like the anti-Jordan take is that he's 6-0 in the finals, but why didn't he make it 11 times like LeBron has?
Right.
Yeah. I'm just saying I think we can move past this debate as a card-carrying member of sports media for my whole life.
But you can't wait because it knocks Brady off the throne.
That's why we're rooting for the Chiefs in this game. That's what we're living for.
It gets Brady off the throne. Look, it's remarkable what the Chiefs have done. And, there's this really only one person's reporting that, that Andy Reid might retire, right? It's the conspiracist Mike Florio. And no one else is reporting it. And I don't think Andy's retiring because why would he? Like, it's just set up for life. Like, you don't have to you're in the AFC Championship game every single season. Your roster will continue to get better because you have the room to do so. As you paid Mahomes, you have a very young roster on defense. Like, you're going to be set. Why would you go anywhere? It's like with the Patriots had almost two separate dynasties, right? They won 3 championships in 4 years, had almost a 10-year lull, and then won 14, 16, 18. Now, obviously, they lost in 11 and 7. The Chiefs haven't had any of those down years yet. That's why I think if we're talking about like dynasties, and if they win this, they're obviously not in the discussion for best dynasty ever. I mean, to make the conference game 6 straight years, make 4 Super Bowls and win 3 of 4 Super Bowls in any sport. I mean, that's remarkable. I mean, the Braves won 11 divisions in a row and made 1 World Series. I mean, it's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's stick with them, but get a little bit more analytical. We'll get away from the legacy takes. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, we can assume Pat had a good game. Yes. But what else had to happen? Give me dork out a little.
Oh, yeah. Okay, a couple of things here. One is the Chiefs have to play offensively like they have in the playoffs, which is they don't drop the football and they don't have turnovers, which Mahomes has had no turnovers in the playoffs since the 21 Bengals game. He's played 6 playoff games since then, and had no turnovers. It's remarkable.
It's insane.
His number, someone at PFF put this out, his number of even bad throws has dropped in the postseason from the regular season number. Like, he's not even making mistakes. So to me, it's do they continue to catch the football, get in the right space, and make plays after? Don't make the mistakes they've made in the regular season. And then I think defensively, it's have you limited McCaffrey, right? I mean, McCaffrey, it's pretty remarkable. I'm going to pull up the number right here of when basically he plays and doesn't play. So here's right here with Christian McCaffrey with Kyle Shanahan when he has played 26-6 as a team. When McCaffrey's not on the roster, 46-48 for Shanahan as the Niners head coach. And so he's extremely important to what they do, obviously. So if the Chiefs say, you know what, you're not scoring a touchdown, we're going to limit you to maybe 100 all-purpose yards, they probably win that game. If McCaffrey doesn't score and they catch the football on the other side of the ball, they probably win this game. So there's other factors too, right? Like special teams. We don't talk about that very often. Niners kicker is shaky as heck. Guy misses kicks all the time. Rookie. Harrison Butker doesn't miss anything. I mean, dude, we'll get to wagers. Like, there's a who has the longest field goal of the game. I took Chiefs minus 115. Butker can make one inside from 58 and 60 yards if he needs to, a little elevation. Even coaching. Andy Reid, for so long, was sort of a conservative coach. Didn't go for it on 4th down. They got Patrick Mahomes, and now he goes for it all the time. If it's 4th and 2, guys, on the 30-yard line, is Kyle Shanahan kicking a field goal or going for it?
Yeah, history seems to say he's probably kicking it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's more than one factor why the Chiefs win, but these are sort of if you look at the boxes of, I think, how a Chiefs victory goes, all these get checked. If Shanahan turns into some aggressive coach, maybe the Chiefs don't win that game because they go for it, 4th down, they convert, and they move the chain. So I think more than anything, it's offensively continues to catch the football, not make mistakes. Defensively, slow down Christian McCaffrey.
I think they probably have... I think a big part of it too is the 49ers, how they decide to play this, right? Because I think a big variable is is Kyle Shanahan going to do like weird stuff in this game? Are they going to have to come back from a big hole? Like, I don't see them being able to do that like they've had to do, like they had to do last week.
Yeah,
like 2 weeks ago.
there's a lot of numbers that point to this not going well for the Niners. If you look at the idea of first half differential in the playoffs, they have the second worst first half differential in the playoffs, and the team above them, the worst team, and the 5 teams below them have all lost in the Super Bowl. You look at the way their defense is trending right now. We talk about the Niners defense like it's some excellent unit. The Cardinals gashed them. The Ravens gashed them. The Commanders for the first half, they gashed them.
Yeah.
So, and then the Packers, the Lions, like they haven't played good defense in a month and a half.
Yeah.
And so things I think are trending in the wrong direction for them. They get behind. We've seen Purdy the last 2 games come from behind, but the Chiefs, I think, aren't a team to do that against.
No.
They don't allow deep pass attempts. Don't allow Snead doesn't allow anyone to catch the football. It feels like the Niners have to start fast in this game.
They do.
So the opening script's going to be curious about how this goes. And I think early on we'll get a sense. If the Chiefs get up to an early lead, that's it. The Niners just aren't coming back in the game.
Yeah.
We know the Chiefs can always come back, but they're not a team this year that's shown the ability because the wide receivers don't catch the football. So I'm just curious sort of how the game starts, and they'll tell us a lot about how this game will go.
So something to that point to gambling, and then we'll get back to just regular stuff. The Chiefs, I don't know if you saw this. The Chiefs are the most profitable team in the history of the NFL to an over or under in the second half, either side. They are the most profitable. They're like 19-1 or something to the second half under. So if they are ahead, there's not a lot of points happening in the second half every single week.
I love this bet.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet, but I was going to pre-bet the second half under.
Yeah. It's like 23.5 points or something like that.
Because, and I was talking to on my Bear Bets podcast with Sammy P, who's he's in the weeds with bookmakers. He said 24 is the magic number in the second half, and if it's 24.5, the books are telling you they think of a lot of points. If we score 23.5, it's the other way. They think, hey guys, like the under sort of the play here.
Yep.
Kansas City does not allow. Nick Wright's talked about this all the time, like fourth quarter points. They haven't allowed second half points, fourth quarter points, and their offense zero second half points last week,
Yep.
0 in the fourth quarter against Buffalo. So the second half under feels like a play if you think, to your point, the Chiefs get out fast. I also thought a live wager, like, if someone scores early, can I get a better number under? So I think second half, I think it's going to be a low scoring game in general. I don't think a lot of points are
This is not my part of the show here, but can I just, you guys are remember, there's another team. It's not the Chiefs versus like an imaginary team. It's the Chiefs versus the 49ers.
Yes.
Who just put up, I think it was 27 in the second half when they needed almost every one of those points to win the game, and they did it. Now, granted, the Lions aren't a great D, but like,
correct.
They covered themselves.
If the Niners,
you can't just like, it's not a UFC fight.
Sure.
You can't just take someone to the ground and hold them there.
If the Niners get going on offense, they're hard to stop. So, but I don't think that's going to be. I don't think the way the Chiefs play defense, they're just going to like just take off in this game. Brock Purdy started for the last 2 games. It's the Super Bowl now. Like, this is a big. I don't think he's going to start fast in this game, and we haven't seen that from him. We haven't seen the offense be consistent recently. I think, again, I go back to sort of the advantages. I'm looking through the Chiefs lens. I think the Chiefs are going to win. Like Trent Williams, incredible. Niners left tackle. The rest of the offensive line is not very good. Chris Jones, George. I think there's advantages the Chiefs have sort of in the trenches and in the way they're going to game plan the 49ers that make me feel comfortable in the Chiefs winning the game.
All right, so you mentioned Brock Purdy, and I think this will be our segue to get to the fun stuff, making some picks and hearing some silly props. Last sort of take here. I think there's a lot of people who see some crow being like stewed in the kitchen, and they're nervous that the crow is going to be brought out to their table and handed to them to eat at the end of this game. And you may not be exactly that guy. You've always been like on Purdy, but you haven't spent a lot of time crapping on him.
Yeah.
A lot of our friends and colleagues have crapped all over this dude.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to I'm going the other way now. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I think we so badly want to protect old takes that we've lost sight of the fact that this guy has overachieved and surprised everyone pretty much every week since we've known him. Including, by the way, in college before we knew him.
So this season, Brock Purdy is first in yards per attempt, 5th in yards per game, 3rd in pass touchdowns, 1st in passer rating, and 4th in sacks per game. He's actually really good too when if you pressure and don't get home, Purdy makes you pay. So like but I think we're looking at. So here's the tough part about takes, right, is that it's pretty boring to say someone's in the middle, right? Like it's very easy to have the good argument, who's the best, who's on the mountaintop. Also, who's the crummiest quarterback of all. It's pretty boring to be like, you know what, I think Purdy's in the middle. Like, I think Purdy is in the middle. I think he's in the middle. If you were to, let's say you put him, even on the Chiefs, with the Chiefs roster they have on offense, they're not in the Super Bowl. They're not. Like, so I think Purdy is good. Is he elite? Probably not. But is he a bum? No. But in obviously in the right circumstances, he can get a team to Super Bowl. The question becomes, in this game, Gabe, in the biggest moments, does he have enough to beat a Mahomes? Would he have enough to beat a Burrow? Like that is, I think, the question about, because he beat Jordan Love and Goff. That's not Patrick Mahomes. So you're going toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. Do you have enough to do it yourself? Because in the end, it comes down a lot to just quarterback play. Even the first game, Jimmy Garoppolo missed 2 throws. That's all it took. The Niners played well until he missed the 2 throws. So it's Purdy going to miss those throws and make those throws. Is he going to get hit and the ball? A buddy of mine, Guy Haberman, who covers the Chiefs, they packed already with him forever. He brought this point up. It's very true. Like, Purdy's not a big guy. And where it manifests itself is when he gets hit at all while he's throwing, the ball just shoots in different directions. He can't, like, follow through. So can he overcome sort of any limitation the Chiefs can get to him and be the guy to win this game for them?
Are you saying that Patrick Mahomes having a bit of a dad bod maybe is a good thing? You need a little extra pudding.
The dad bod was great. It was so great.
We didn't spend time on it here, but that was also a media obsession this week.
Oh,
doesn't a little pudding help? Don't you want some of that for the reason you just said?
How many quarterbacks who win Super Bowls are like jacked?
None.
Tom Brady's
they all
not
have pudding.
Jacked.
Yeah.
You think Stafford's jacked? No. Nick Foles just yoked.
Joe Flacco.
It's great. The dad bod thing. Dad bods are really back. They're so back, especially like Harry and like, Harry dad
We'll keep
bods.
telling ourselves.
Yeah,
that,
I don't know if that's actually the case. I don't know how many women are watching this show, but I think
I imagine a lot. Our wives are certainly watching.
Well, listen, the girls are going to love the part that's coming up because this is when you guys do all the prop bets.
James receiving over-unders?
And you have refused, off air, you have refused to talk about Taylor Swift props. So there's really nothing left for the casuals.
The Taylor Swift stuff, here's a couple of things. One is that there's no value in any of these wagers anymore because they've already been bet around.
Yep.
And the limits are so low. I was joking before the show, Taylor Swift to wear red lipstick, which is her signature, is minus 1,000. All right?
Yeah.
So if you bet $100, you win 1. Okay? If you bet, you win 10.
It's like getting a month-long CD.
Yeah, so if you bet $100, you win 10. I tried to bet $500 to win $50 on this one, and it limited me to a $100 wager. So like you can't even get down any money to make money in this. Now the no was like plus 700 plus 8. The maximum bet was $10. So you can't even get down on these.
It's almost as if these casinos rig it in their favor.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, right?
So bizarre.
So the one Taylor Swift one is interesting though is I saw a sports book that had over under. There's 2 I like actually. I didn't bet them, but they weren't talking about it. 5.5 views or shots of Taylor Swift once the game starts, not pregame. After that feels low, right?
There's there's head-to-head Kelsey catches or shots of Taylor Swift.
I saw that one too, but it's juiced really heavily to Kelsey.
Yeah, that's fun though.
Those are fun.
That's fun.
And
you got to assume at least half his catches come with a reaction shot from her.
Well,
right.
only if they're, in my opinion, like the big ones. I'm curious, like CBS. I don't know if they lean into as much as like a different station would.
I think they do because I think they just got a big bump from her on the Grammys, and I think their
they
brains are all trained on that.
The Grammys got really good.
Yeah,
ratings.
and I think she's going to stand up and sing along during there are extra songs at the Super Bowl. Keep in mind, you don't just get the anthem; you get "God Bless America."
Yeah, but those don't count for the wager. It has to be after kickoff.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Huh.
after kickoff. 5
But we're not talking about Taylor Swift props. We wouldn't do that.
No,
that's silly. We would not go.
We would not do that.
And
the other
talk about the most famous person in the world.
And the other one that I thought interesting was who says her name first, Jim Nantz or Tony Romo?
Yeah.
And Tony Romo has the plus money, and I think like I could see Jim Nantz like go to like and he's like there she is, and Romo says like I
don't know Jim.
I don't know Jim because that Kelsey's girlfriend or not. Neither might say it.
Wife.
He does always say wife. Yeah. The dumbest one of all, which I wish I could wager on, it opened up at minus 250 in FanDuel Canada, was will Will Travis Kelce proposed Taylor Swift, the no was minus 250. I would have emptied my entire bank account on the no. It got shot up to minus 3,500 in 30 minutes. He's not proposing Taylor Swift to this game. I promise you that.
Are we sure?
Is that a scoop?
Yeah, he's not going to do it. Okay,
Sources are telling you? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
Triple sourced?
Triple sourced.
On background?
One source. So my daughter, though, like, the Taylor Swift thing is great because my daughter is just watching football to look for Taylor Swift now. It's fantastic. She's watching the game with me to be like, there's Taylor Swift, or there's her boyfriend. Like, I love it. I think it's great. It's allowed my daughter to watch football.
So you're saying the psyop to re-elect Joe Biden is working?
Yes, it is.
Can I tease one actual serious point that I want you to give me a real piece of analysis for, and then from that point forward, pure silly town and the props after the break. Great stat from, I think it's Jay Kuda, and thanks, Hank, for dropping this in there. When the Super Bowl is played at a site that requires one team to travel east and another to travel west, team traveling west undefeated. Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, dumb stats like that. Dumb's the wrong word. Like, useless. Like, just kind of meandering. The favor of the Chiefs. Like, it's wild. Like, how many of these, like, weird ones are, like, favor of the Chiefs?
But listen, people, we have kids. Everyone knows that, like, traveling through time zones and trying to adjust your schedule is kind of difficult when you have a complicated schedule and now you're moving west.
But it works. But the opposite's happening. The team that has to travel more is the one winning.
The one that's traveling. Yeah, you know what? Great point. Boy, that undid my logic quick. Okay, that's why you make us smarter.
It's the opposite, yeah.
Should we take a break or should we just keep on talking about stuff?
Let's just keep going.
Okay, Jeff, you're in charge. What's next?
You put a break in whenever you want.
I was trying to be a professional about this, but
let's keep going.
All right.
Let's go props, Matt.
Let's talk
how many
about
do you have so far?
Well, I've submitted a few small ones, but I haven't like made any really big plays yet because I was sort of hoping that you would talk me into a few, and maybe I'll talk you into a few, and maybe Gabe will look at his phone this whole time and pretend that it's
I
not
do have
cool
to catch up on some emails. Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. We'll just be over here making the people money.
Okay. So do you want to go by
the rest of our company money?
Do you want to go by team or do you want to go like? How do you want to do it?
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Because I have it all written out by team.
Why don't you start with something that like makes some sense?
Okay,
and we can get
here we go.
progressively dumber.
So here's the one that makes sense.
One of my
so
favorites.
here's a couple that are my favorite on the Chiefs side first. Let's start with the Chiefs first. So Rashee Rice has become the Chiefs' wide receiving weapon.
Yep.
He has more receptions, more yards, and more touchdowns than the rest of the Chiefs' wide receivers combined in the postseason. It's only one touchdown, by the way. But 20 receptions, I think 250 yards-ish, something like that. He's second in the NFL in yards after reception, yards after catch, 8.4. Debo's one, he's number two. I think Kittle's actually third, I should say. The Niners defensively are very static. So what that means is they line up in their look and they don't move. So 80% of the time they line up in two high, one high, and they don't move. That's not a recipe for success against the Chiefs. If you just give Mahomes the look, he will make you pay. And we saw last week that he has no problem throwing the ball quickly, which he has all season, really, to be honest with you. I think Rice just catches a bunch of passes and gets a bunch of yards. And I have Rice over 6.5 receptions, over 66.5 receiving yards. I think that he becomes the guy for them in this game.
Makes sense. And I think that one of the reasons the Chiefs are still not favored in this game is I don't think that people have totally adjusted to how different their offense is from how it went in the beginning of the season. Right?
Yes.
Like, it seems like even when you look at some of these props, you think about like some of these guys are not going to be catching passes. Like, you know, I don't think that we're going to see a lot of Watson in this game. I don't think we're going to see a lot of, I don't know, even like Noah Gray. Like, I think we're going to see these like random new people. Like last year, Sky Moore got a touchdown, right? Kadarius Toney got a touchdown. Like, we're going to see some random people. Like, when Richie James numbers come up, I would be hitting those.
Really?
Like Jerick McKinnon, I would be hitting those. But they're not really up yet because everyone's so focused on these big names.
I hit an anytime touchdown from McCole Hardman, plus 1,100 in this game, for the reasons you mentioned, right? Because last year Sky Moore scored, Kadarius Toney scored. But go back to 2022. Watch the Chiefs play the 49ers. And it was in Kansas City, in San Francisco. And the Chiefs scored 40-ish points. They scored a bunch of points in that game. The game plan was a lot of fly sweeps, a lot of quick handoffs to get to the edge. And they kind of messed with Bosa the entire game. It was really kind of fun to watch. And we know Andy Reid loves your tweet went viral, right? The one that was like, there was sorry about that. That said, basically like Andy Reid's a genius, but then he hands the ball to his eighth wide receiver. He's gonna do that in
Russian
this
bots
game.
loved this tweet.
Yes,
by the way,
he's gonna do that in this game. He's gonna do something dumb, like not dumb's the wrong word, but plus 1100, I think, for your basically third wide receiver, Rashee Rice, MVS, and McCole Hardman. I mean, that's a decent value, I feel like.
I feel like this is all a little bit of like a psych out game, and that you're trying to give me Cole Hardman, who you previously threw under the bus.
Friend of the show.
Just a season or two
Oh,
ago.
you're right. I did do that. Yeah.
You very vocally made it clear he was not a wide receiver 1, and I think he took exception. So now you're declaring him in a positive light, wide receiver 3.
I forgot we had a little thing. We had a little back and
He
forth.
didn't forget.
A little
He didn't
tiff.
forget.
I had a guy today that I was at Fox today. He came up to me and said, "Hey, can you unblock me on Twitter?" I guess I had blocked him because he said some stupid things. I feel like
Was it
Hardman,
Colin?
No, it's not Colin. It was not Colin. It wasn't. Sticking with the Chiefs. So Pacheco obviously has played 6 playoff games the last 2 years, so it makes sense he leads the NFL in rush yards in the playoffs. He's actually never lost a playoff game. It's kind of crazy. 6-0. That's an unimportant stat. But the Niners have allowed a rush over 15 yards or more to the Cardinals, to the Ravens, to the Packers, to the Lions. Commanders too. I think Gibson has 16-yard rush. So 5 games. 5 games, 6 running backs. So I have Pacheco over 15.5 for his longest rush of the game.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I think that so the reason why I haven't hit Pacheco yards or carries because I don't trust Andy Reid to run the football all game. And he's very much a sort of hot hand rusher. So like if Clyde Edwards-Helaire comes in and just has a good rush, he'll keep him in the game. And if Jerry McKinnon's back, that takes away some sort of maybe some third down rushes from Pacheco. But I think there's a time in this game where he breaks a long run. The Niners' run defense is very bad. Their effort was really, really bad against the Lions. I was kind of shocked at how poor their effort was in that game at times. So Pacheco over 15.5 for longest rush, I like a lot too.
Can I propose a prop to this little show group here?
Please.
And we can include people working behind the scenes,
Yeah.
I think Victor and others. Over under 0.5 people in this room who are absolutely confident they know which team Jerick McKinnon is on, the Chiefs or the Niners, because I've heard you talking about him, and I'm like, I do not know.
I think
what team, because he's played for them both.
Yeah, he was on the.
I do not know which team you're saying he's back on.
I think the first game he was on the Niners for the Super Bowl, right?
For this season?
No, 2019.
Yeah.
Was he on the Chiefs or Niners?
He was an important part of their game plan.
I think there's 3 players that have like Ward was on the Chiefs in the first game, and now he's on in the Niners. Huh. There's one other guy that was on either or team. I have it on the research notes I sent you. I think it's on there.
Yeah.
No, but he's on the Chiefs. But he's on injured. He's been on injured reserve, and they open up his window to come to activate him back. Yeah. And he might play. He might not play. I got a good number that it's hard to give out now, but I got MVS longest reception at over 13.5. It's now 18.5. He only does is catch deep passes for the Chiefs. I need 1 catch for that to happen. But I'm not heavy on a lot of Chiefs props this game. I have no Mahomes props. I might take over 4.5 rush attempts, which hit last week. But that's a nice because the Neals hit though. But the Niners pass rush to me, in the way they play so much zone, we're not going to. So when you're in zone coverage and quarterbacks break the pocket, defenders are looking at you, right? They're watching. They see you. They're right in front of you. Man coverage, obviously, no one mans Mahomes. They don't spy Mahomes. So if he breaks out of the pocket, the guys are watching the wide receivers, like they're in man coverage, so he can get scrambles. If you're in zone coverage, you don't get as many scrambles. So I think that number is not as great, even though you could argue that it hit last week with the Neals. So I'm not heavy on Chiefs props.
Yeah, I'm not either yet. I'm going to run one by you that you're going to like. All right, so this goes back to all these random guys who are going to catch passes. Total players to have a reception over 14.5. And that's plus 145. So
this is awesome because
yeah. So in the championship game, there were 8 Chiefs who had reception and 6 49ers. Okay, so that's 14. So in this game, if there's like McKinnon comes back, that's another target for the Chiefs. Reminder we just talked about. There were these 2 random guys who I think Sky Moore's or Tony's only catch of the season maybe was that touchdown last year. They were hardly ever used, and in the Super Bowl they're like, let's give it to them now, even though Kadarius Toney's on the wrong side of the field.
Yes.
So there's a good chance that the Chiefs will add to their repertoire here. Also, fake punt, trick play, injury, all benefit you to somebody else entering the
Yeah.
game for the first
I
time.
don't think any of these teams all do a trick play. They're not.
But it
these
gives you
coaches are not.
gives you the pad.
In last week, did you count Lamar Jackson catching the ball?
No,
Oh, that's great.
yeah,
that
that's
would
true.
count.
That would
It
count.
certainly would count. Yeah.
Yeah.
14. So the Chiefs typically have between like 8 and 10 a game. They spread the ball a lot. So it comes down to the Niners, right? So you have McCaffrey, you have
Samuel,
Juice.
Ayuk, Kittle, Jennings, and Juice. Yeah, so they were the 6 last week. So like if Mitchell were to get
Plus,
a catch,
I like it plus money though.
Yeah, it's plus money, and then the Chiefs, it was Kelsey, Rice, Pacheco, McKinnon, MVS, Watson, Gray, and Richie James. That's who it was last time.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to reveal my lack of expertise.
Yes.
I
like that
believe,
bet, though.
since I picked them each up at one time, or I'm completely out of my mind,
Yeah.
I think there are 2 guys named Watson who are like wide receiver 6 for the Chiefs.
No,
One's tight end and one's a receiver.
no, same guy. And they have a Watson on defense.
I'm out of my depth here.
All I
There
know
is
is
a
I
Watson.
picked up
Okay,
a
there's
guy named
4.
Watson midway through the season. I was like, he has become the guy. He will be on my fantasy team.
Watson.
Then
looks
a new
like,
guy
no,
came
Whitson
along.
looks like a tight. He looks like a tight end. That's why he's number 84.
that's what it is.
All their times are 87, 81, 83. So he kind of is a bigger wide receiver. No one.
I know what you mean when you say
Yeah.
looks like a tight
He
end.
looks like a tight end, but he's a wide receiver.
I got it.
He's a wide
Yeah.
receiver. The other Chiefs one I like is Chris Jones over a quarter of a sack at plus 130. It's plus 120 now. Got it at 130. A quarter, 0.25. So half sack
Half
counts.
sack counts.
3 Super Bowls for Chris Jones, guys. 3 Super Bowls. 0 quarterback hits and 0 sacks in 3 Super Bowls. He has 6 pressures, though. He has an advantage. The Niners offensive line goes Hall of Famer, left tackle, okay left guard, and then just like craters off the back, center to right. I think there's an advantage for him to get a sack in this game. Plus 120, plus 130. I took Chiefs over 2.5 sacks, too.
He's your play over like Karlaftis or whoever's on the other side.
Yeah, you could do either or. I think what they're going to do is put Karlaftis and Chris Jones on the right guard and right tackle. Just say whoever is rushing over Trent Williams, like you're just going to lose. Sorry, like we'll just eat up space. Like just don't get embarrassed because the Menahue's out, so they don't really have. It's like Mike Dana. It's like just don't just.
When I play pickup basketball, and Vic knows because he's been there, the goal, I try to get the good guy to guard me because I'm not going to shoot anyway. It's sort of the same idea.
Do you just
Put
go
a crappy defense.
Do you just go to get a run in?
No. Every now and then, if like 9 people get injured, I get a call from a colleague of ours. Well, you know Nick, and Nick will be like, "Hey,
Occasional
I
producer.
need someone to just like be a
Is
warm
it
body."
outside or inside?
Inside.
I once got invited to a tournament, like a league game, like there was a league at the JCC for the same purpose, to be a warm body.
Yeah.
And it was like a competitive game too, and I was not prepared for that type of.
Yeah, I'm never prepared. But the point I'm making is you find a place where you can waste another team's good player. That's a way to win.
Yes.
Okay, so you're on a half sack for Chris Jones.
Quarter of a sack.
Well, all right, but you need a half sack to win it. What else you got?
I like the first quarter over 9.5. So Kansas City has scored something on every opening drive this playoffs.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns and a field goal. And the 49ers led the NFL in opening drive touchdowns this year. And they need to start this game fast based on everything we talked about.
Yeah.
So I think they probably come out. Shanahan, great with the scripted plays. Reed, of course, amazing with all the prep time. 31-7 with 2 weeks to prepare for a game straight
insane,
up.
right?
That's pretty good, right? So I think that they would come out pretty strong. I think there's probably a little bit of a lull in the second quarter, and 9.5 is just 2 scores. So I like that as a way to play the total. That's not the actual game.
Yeah, it's a good one because both teams will be on script. You can't take the who will score first because both teams defer. So whoever wins the toss doesn't. They don't want the ball each.
Yep.
Kansas City, because of the way their offense, like they've been sort of hitting it early in games, and then just sort of holding on for dear life, which is why the second half under is certainly in play here. I said this earlier in the podcast, like Harrison Butker is a better kicker than Moody is. So like I over longest field goal was like minus 115. It was like 47.5, and then I didn't take that one, but I took Chiefs longest field goal. There's so many props. It's a do whatever you want. I mean, it is a lot. It's a lot happening.
Rapid fire us with some.
That's our for Kansas City. That's like 1, 2,
I forgot we were
3,
doing by
4,
teams. I was
5,
just saying the ones
6. I have 7 Chiefs right now, plus the Chiefs money line.
It's pretty
So,
good.
I'll
What
take
about
it.
for the Niners?
Can you make sure none of your Niners prop bets involve kickers, please?
No kickers. I
right, great.
have the Larry David rule, no kickers. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. All right, so a lot of the wagers I make for the game are correlated, right? It's
Yep.
basically how I think the game's going to go. So if the game goes the way opposite of what I think, I'll lose all my wagers. It's pretty that simple. So the Chiefs have been really good this year at shutting down the number one wide receiver for each team because L'Jarius Sneed is him, as the young kids say, and Trent McDuffie, by the way, Himothy, yes, and then Trent McDuffie actually made the All-Pro team, which is Sneed should have made it. But Sneed had the lowest completion percentage this season as a corner, 49%, best in NFL. And you look at the way he played against Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase and Devontae Adams. Now, Zay Flowers went over. That's mostly the blown coverage they had. That wasn't really Sneed's fault per se.
Right.
So I think you look at Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk this year had a great season. He had 1,375 yards. 75 catch. He had like 18.5 yards per catch, which is insane.
Actually.
Yeah, it's insane. No, you know what I mean? Because we talk about McCaffrey and Debo and Brock Purdy and Kittle. He was incredible. But in this game, I think Sneed takes him down. So I have Brandon Ayuk under 4.5 receptions and under 63.5 receiving yards. And then sort of correlated with that, I have Debo Samuel over 4.5 receptions and over 57.5 receiving yards because someone's going to move the ball. I don't think the Chiefs are going to shut the Niners out. So if Ayuk's not that guy, then I think Debo Samuel in the slot, moving around, get some better matchups, ideal matchups, play action pass, things like that. Chiefs don't defend play action pass very well, but the Niners don't really run play action pass very often compared to their peers in the NFL. So those are like two correlated wagers, right? I think I go Ayuk under and have the Samuel over.
I would have guessed. I follow the logic. I would have guessed that the reason Ayuk had such a big season statistically is precisely because every team's top cornerback was on Debo. You're telling me that you think they're putting Sneed on Ayuk? And
So if Debo's in the slot, they'll put McDuffie on him.
Okay.
Like they typically let Sneed just kind of stay on one guy, and just like you take that side of the field away. Right. And then so we saw Kansas City, and we've seen this season where they're third best at limiting explosive pass plays, deep pass plays, and we saw especially against Buffalo, Josh Allen threw a lot of passes short, right? So I have Kyle Juszczyk. That's my favorite wager for the Niners in this game, over 3.5 receiving yards. So he's played the Chiefs twice. The first game, Super Bowl, 4 targets, 3 catches, 38 yards, I think, and a touchdown. And then I believe it in 2020, it might have been vice versa. It might have been 3 and 38 yards. And it was 4 targets, 3 receptions, and over 30 yards in the meeting in 2022. And the way that the Chiefs say, look, man, we're going to not let you go deep underneath, ball out quickly. 3.5. That's basically one reception. So I that's my favorite Niners wager.
Nice.
Can we wager anything on the stuff his wife sewed?
So there was a Taylor Swift prop that said Taylor's husband to score a touchdown plus 900.
Good job.
So Juice plus
That's
900
good.
to score a touchdown.
That's really good.
Yeah. I wonder how that works. Like, do you think she will make if they're playing the Chiefs, do you think she'll make like Taylor Swift something to wear?
I would think she would, yeah.
Smart marketing. Oh yeah.
I don't think that the fandom is going to get in the way of the biggest thing she could ever do for her budding business.
And then the NFL gave her a license. It's awesome. Good for her.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Purdy interception, Matt, over a half, minus 130. Interesting numbers here. Purdy's played 17 games this year. When he throws no interceptions, they're 11-0. They score 33 points a game. He completes 71% of passes, 26 touchdowns, obviously no interceptions, passer rating of 129. When he throws one or more interceptions, they're 3-4. They drop 10 points in scoring from 33 to 23. His completion percentage drops 8%. He has obviously 12 interceptions, and his passer rating goes from 129 to 79. So the Chiefs force one interception. Like, that is a big deal for the Niners offense. And again, the way I talk about when Purdy gets hit a lot, that's when he throws the interceptions. The ball kind of flutters. So I have Chiefs. I have basically Purdy throwing an interception in this game.
I think the only team to have won a game that threw an interception this postseason was the Niners last week, or in the NFC Championship, because Purdy had one, and I don't think there was any other time the winning quarterback threw an interception.
Well, Holmes hasn't thrown one.
Yeah. So, but like Stroud and whatever. I'm just saying if these are
Yeah.
correlated.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you think the Chiefs are going to win,
If the Niners win this game, I'm losing all my wagers basically. So
well, maybe a way to hedge that is to bet on Super Bowl MVP. Do you have any of those odds?
Well, who do you go on the Niners?
I think you got to play McCaffrey. I think you got to play him. He's plus 550. I think that if they do beat the Chiefs, is it because Brock Purdy made a bunch of amazing plays, or is it because the Chiefs defense isn't great against the run? That's their weak point. Christian McCaffrey is the best player on the field. He runs away with the game. He's the guy who gets all the credit. When people sort of do that, like, well, Mahomes did outplay Purdy, right? Like, there's no world where Purdy's going to outplay Mahomes in this unless, like, something really strange happens. So they're probably going to say, this guy wasn't even the best quarterback on the field. How about we give it to the offensive player who stood out?
But the Purdy story of him winning Super Bowl MVP as like as Mr.
But McCaffrey,
irrelevant.
though.
Well, yeah, McCaffrey has to have obviously a giant game. I think if the Niners win, that's a good wager because that's the best value you're going to find in a wager for the Niners to win, right? Because obviously you take a money line minus 125. There's not quote unquote value there. There's no other bet you can make really that. Unless you have a future that you're getting plus 500 on. You're basically, it's a future, right? You're betting on Niners to win the game, McCaffrey to be the MVP. I think Debo plus 900-ish is not bad for MVP because of what he can do in this game. And you look at that. But again, like the MVPs for Super Bowls tend to be quarterbacks. If Damian Williams didn't win in 2019, I mean.
3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. Also, too, I need to, correct me if someone tweet me or whatever, but I'm fairly certain the MVP voting, people do it like before the game is over. And so I'm curious if like Damian Williams scoring that touchdown was already voted on for Mahomes to win MVP. And so like if there's a late play, does that change the voting? Have people voted already? So I'm always curious about MVP voting. But I think Mahomes is the only bet to make for the Chiefs for the MVP, I feel like, right? There's only bet to make. And they're not giving it to anyone else. I mean, Pacheco had 400 yards. No, they would give it to Mahomes, right? Like you give it to wide receiver or you give it to...
I disagree.
You think they give it to Kelce?
Better value in Kelce because if Kelce gets 8 catches and a game-winning touchdown, and
well,
just the mood in the building,
yeah,
like everyone is looking at him.
But it also depends on, I guess, like how if one touchdown doesn't get it done for Kelce, unless he has 12 receptions and 185 yards. But then again, are the throws because it's Mahomes or because Kelce's open?
I think it's possible, and something that happened. So Tom Brady, when they went to 3. That they ended up giving us an MVP to like Deion Branch. Like sometimes, like when they go to the bunch of Super Bowls in a row, they get the playoff fatigue. Edelman got one. So I think that it's possible that they could just say like, well, it's Kelce. Like maybe he's going to retire. He had 2 touchdowns. If Mahomes throws for 2 touchdowns and they're both to Kelce, I do think that he could potentially get
And also like
12-1.
Wouldn't after you have to like talk to some like guy from State Farm or something, and then Mr. Hunt or whoever the hell, the first person you want to hear from in that stadium if the Chiefs win is obviously Travis Kelce, not Patrick Mahomes.
He's the most famous
so everyone in the building gets to vote on who do we want to hear
from. But Kelce also has stepped up to the podium before and sort of been like the lead dog without winning the MVP.
Yeah, well, we're getting him either way if they win. I'm just saying, might as well put him in the top spot.
And then he takes a knee and proposes, right?
Obviously. And by the way, but to take that seriously for a second on the prop bets, you said not showing her prior to kickoff doesn't count. Does it? What about post kickoff?
So you have to read the house rules. I think it's just during.
I want you to memorize all of them, especially FanDuel Canada.
I think. Well, I think it's just during the live action of the game.
Okay.
And so the other bet that I made that's kind of one of these funky off the wall bets is the Gatorade color. We've talked about this before.
Go ahead.
This is my favorite yours, man. Of the year.
This is by the way,
Knuckles. This email.
This take is why this show is called what it's called.
Okay, yes.
I'm not kidding.
So, the Gatorade color for years has tended to match the jersey color of the winner, and let me explain what I mean by that. It's not match exactly, but if you're wearing a white uniform, yellow, orange, and red will stain the uniform during the game when you're drinking the drink. So if you're drinking an orange Gatorade and it spills on a white uniform, it stains it orange. They don't want your white uniform to be stained orange. So you look at who wins the Super Bowl, they wear a white uniform. It's blue, purple, or water typically. Now water obviously is always on every sideline, but it's blue. Tom Brady has had blue last 4 Super Bowls. And he's worn white, I think, in all of those Super Bowls.
Yep. I have the whole breakdown year by year if you'd like.
Okay. Kansas City, when they wore red, had orange. And last year they had blue or purple, right? Purple, yeah. Because blue and purple do not stain the white jerseys.
Can you explain that? Why do blue and purple not
they don't stain the jerseys as much because they're not the bright colors. I guess I don't know. They don't stain the jerseys as much.
All right.
So that's and I mean when I was with the
Glacier
Giants,
freeze. Who knew?
and so I bet orange. I think Chiefs are going to win. So
Do we think cucumber lime's an option in Vegas? It is here in LA.
lime was
Cucumber lime.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think light green
Local
is
to
yellow
LA.
green.
Yellow
You can
green.
get some good value at plus
And then look,
275.
when the
with yellow
Eagles
green.
won, they're wearing dark jerseys. They had yellow.
Yeah, that's right.
There's one odd one. I think the Broncos won in white uniforms with orange.
With orange.
Yeah.
So if
Otherwise,
we're
it pretty much
following
matches.
your script,
Yeah.
which is the Chiefs,
Chiefs
win,
wear red.
Orange.
orange is the play.
And then at the Niners, you go in with like blue, purple.
Well, I will say that Kyle Shanahan was asked at Media Day what his favorite Gatorade is. Some
What'd he
very
say?
smart reporter.
Oh, that's smart.
What
he
did he say?
said orange. So you're getting maybe some double value there
Interesting.
on the orange.
But
I
he
don't
obviously doesn't choose what.
And it's 4D chess, man. I played Uno against my kids last night.
Yeah.
And I called Uno, right? And they're getting a little smarter at this. And I pretended I used the card where I get to pick the next color.
Yeah.
So I was like Uno, and it's now red. And they were like, he has red, he has red, he has red. No, I had blue, and I knew they had a lot of blue, and so they changed it to blue. Bam, I won. So maybe Kyle Shanahan.
Wait, how'd you know they had blue?
Because they're stupid. They're 6, you know? Like, they're making it very well known what their cards are.
My daughter loves Uno.
Yeah.
She's decent at it, and she also tries to cheat half the time. So
Yeah, I said no cheating. If you cheat, I'm walking out of here.
yeah.
What other props do you have?
That was it. Gatorade prop. Red Chiefs, Niners.
Got any ad props for us?
I got some fun ones here. Offensive lineman touchdown plus 4,000.
Thick 6, Geoff.
I don't think that's enough money for that wager.
That also would play in with the over receptions, right? If any offensive lineman
Okay.
gets a reception,
So
that's
think
good
about
for
it. Is it? Oh, there you go. Things are breaking around here.
that. Was that a fork?
No, I wish it was. I'm hungry.
Oh, that's our mic arm.
They okay.
Why did we
fine.
give Geoff the small chair,
It's
by the way?
Is plus 4,000 is not enough, is it?
I don't know. Maybe. You tell me. How about goes to overtime plus
I saw
1120?
this. What did I bet on? I bet $1 on a like a plus like 5,000 wager. I'm finding what it was. Just something dumb.
Was it NFL player attacked by a coyote during Super Bowl week? Because you can cash that ticket. How about this one? This is a bet I gave me. You might like this one. The Super Bowl to start late because Hank messed up the time zone on the invite plus 1,000.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I would bet that pretty heavily. The Super Bowl ends up being an NBA game instead of the Super Bowl.
College basketball. Oh,
I've-
will open kickoff be returned for a touchdown plus 4,700.
Oh, that's good. This is a UFC prop for you guys. Over 1.5 rounds, Geoff and Kurt Benkert at the Apex. That's pretty good.
I don't like your chances.
I don't either. He's got really nice hair. That's going to factor in.
If we like, does he do MMA?
We love Kurt.
I don't know.
I'm trying to bridge the gap
Yeah.
between two friends here.
Yeah,
That's our role. This is
He
the
says
moment.
dumb things on the so
So do I.
How do you
That's
think,
literally why
how
I'm
do
on
you
the
think
show.
we got here?
Yeah, right.
The dumb stuff you say on the internet,
Yeah.
I don't think you believe half of it. I think he believes half the dumb shit he
You're
says.
saying that I don't believe that John Wilkes Booth and Travis Kelce look alike? Are you really saying
by the way,
that?
there's a John Wilkes Booth show coming out on Apple TV.
Oh, yeah? Who's playing him?
Travis Kelce.
Yeah, it's about like the manhunt to
See
find.
how this comedy 1-2 could work if we did this?
It's about the manhunt to find him after he shot Lincoln. I watched Master of Air. Is that what it is? The new like Band of Brothers show. Okay, I think I don't know if we're done with football.
I'm looking up. I'm looking up more props.
Okay.
Don't take this as being distracted.
It looks like
I want to see if there's anything else I can bet on during
we
the
have
game.
we got to do the I got to get my prize picks.
Yeah,
the
for
vault
sure.
Going.
What about another NFL player attacked by a coyote? Plus 9,000
Okay,
for that one.
the show the Super Bowl next year is in New Orleans. What's it like? Someone gets attacked by by what?
Beads. I do want to say like that there is something weird's going to happen in Las Vegas this week. I wish there was just like I wish I could bet on that. I think that there's just going to be some story that comes out that isn't the soft field. That's going to be a result of like someone in the media.
The soft field is dumb story too because So for those who missed it, the Niners are at the college campus, UNLV, and the Chiefs are at the Raiders facility.
Which is insane, P.S.
Well, last year the Chiefs were at Arizona State, and the Eagles were at the Cardinals facility.
Yeah, but the Chiefs and Raiders are in the same division. You would think that
Well,
the Raiders
yes,
would be
but-
like, yeah, why don't you go
Yeah, but
practice
it-
at the high school
But it's
down
home.
there?
But it's home team, road team. That's it. So like next year, New Orleans,
Oh, okay.
the home team is the NFC. They get the Saints facility, and I assure them the AFC will go to Tulane. Like, that's the way it'll probably work, right? But what's funny is like Bishop Gorman might have better facilities than UNLV. But the point is like, okay, so the issue, people are saying, well, the Chiefs aren't letting the Raiders use their indoor facility, which obviously is turf. It's inside. And I'm not sure that's true or not, but the Chiefs would have to obviously okay that, and the Niners would have to change their practice schedule to fit the Chiefs' practice schedule. Sure enough, maybe that ends up happening tomorrow. The issue is the game is being played on grass. We saw the grass outside. It's baking right now. It'll be rolled in for the game. And the Niners want to practice on grass. So they put grass over the UNLV turf field. And because of the rain, the grass has not really set very well. And they say it's too soft. It's not good enough. But people are saying, well, they should let them use the indoor facility. Well, that's turf. They could pull the grass up and go on turf anytime they want. But they want to practice on grass. And that's why the Chiefs obviously, look, I don't think they trolled the Niners. I think it was scheduled, but they did go outside on grass yesterday and practice in the rain. So it's kind of like one team sort of complaining about the practice facility, complaining the Chiefs hold too much and they don't get penalties. Bill Vinovich, by the way, the referee for this game, doesn't call offensive holding. His teams have not called offensive holding. I looked up 24 the entire season. That's it. Like not even like accepted, 24 total. And that doesn't include, I couldn't break it down for offense or anyone else. Like it could have been a running back, wide receiver. 24 for the entire season in 17 games or 18 games. Not a lot. So it's just like the Niners seem to be whining a lot, and the Chiefs aren't doing any of that. So I'm curious what ends up coming to the practice facility. But yeah, the Niners just kind of, I'm surprised they're talking about it so much, to be honest with you.
Underdogs 58% against the spread against Bill Vinovich, with Bill Vinovich reffing the game.
I don't.
Good for the Chiefs.
Yeah. Did their boy, John Abrams?
Yeah, Evan
Abrams.
I did want to say one other thing about just betting in general this week. The later you go in the week, stop betting any popular overs. Like if you're gonna bet Travis Kelce's over, so it open around 69.
You do it. You do it last week, and you bet the unders. And
it's now at like 71, 72.
Yeah, you bet the unders.
And it's, remember, this is in Vegas. This is for the listeners. Like if this is the most public Super Bowl ever. It's going to be in Vegas. There's going to be everybody coming in and making their bets. It's just going to go over. So if you like anything under, wait a few days.
Speaking
if
of
you
Vegas,
like something over, you probably missed it.
I still have a hotel to give, not to give. Just I need someone to take it from me. I have a hotel. I forgot to cancel Friday through Monday in Vegas. It's a very reasonable price.
Why aren't we going?
You're not going to the acoustic EDM show this year?
That's May. That's in May. I have. If you need a room Friday through Monday, it's not bad. It's at MGM Signature Suites. It's next to MGM. It's a suite, a king suite. It's got pull-out sofa, and it's $3,200 all in for the 3 nights, which is a great deal this time of year for the Super Bowl.
It's amazing.
Now, obviously, it's a lot of money, but like you're not getting a suite anywhere in Vegas for under. I mean, it's not under $1,000. Well, it's like the room's under $1,000 with taxes, put to $3,200.
I feel like why get a room?
Well, we were gonna go and we
But I'm just saying, why get, like, if you're going, just stay out all night. It's Vegas. What do you need a room for?
I like to sleep.
No, not you. Like whoever's watching and is like, maybe I'll take Schwartz up on that. Don't get a room.
Just sleep on the.
Don't sleep.
The entire 72 hours.
72 is pushing it, but get into town Saturday and just go.
It's the father of twins talking.
Yeah.
You just turn it on,
got
man.
another gear.
Okay. Before we get off the chains, and we're going to talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm in a few minutes because we watched it and it was incredible. We're going to laugh about it. Let's pay off Prize Picks and Vaulted right now.
Yes.
Prize Picks, skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. Go to Prize Picks. Use code GSSY for first deposit match up to $100. You pick 2 to 6 players. If they'll go more or less than their Prize Picks projection, and you can win up to 25 times your money. We've done this all season long. It's a lot of fun. We're back for the Super Bowl doing this. I'm going to tell you what my Prize Picks square is going to be. Again, it's not very hard to figure out. I just talked about everything I like in this game. So they have specials right now, obviously, for you guys. They lowered Mahomes' pass yards to 0.5. 0.5, that's it. So it went from 266.5 to 0.5. I'm going more. Duh. Rashee Rice, more than 67.5 receiving yards. Chris Jones, more than 0.25 sacks, so more than a quarter of a sack. And then Brandon Ayuk, under 65.5 receiving yards. Because, again, this is what I expect to happen in the game. That's what I have for Prize Picks. Hope you guys enjoyed following along this season with Prize Picks. And Vaulted, we had Vaulted every Friday. They're a great partner for us this season. Every single week, we had a pool. You guys joined it. You had a lot of fun. There were prizes, cash prizes, free to enter. And we're paying that off for you guys right now, where we have the big game pool this week. If you beat me any point this week, any point this year, any of the pools, in any week, they will send you an email with a link to join this specific pool for the big game. Grand prize up to $5,000. It's incredible. You should find the link, make sure you see it. And it's sort of stuff, the same things that we've talked about for a lot of the things that we like. For example, do the 49ers cover the spread? Do the Chiefs cover the spread? Point totals is the night. So Matt, I went Chiefs over 23.5. I think they go over 23.5. I went Brock Purdy under 248 passing yards. I went Mahomes over 261 passing yards. I actually went under for both touchdowns. For both, it was 2.5 for Mahomes and Purdy 1.5. Longest reception for Debo 21.5. I went over because I have his over yards. Longest rush for McCaffrey. Longest rush for Mahomes 12.5.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. So again, make sure that you go to your email, get the link, please. If you have the link, join the pool. Have a chance to win a lot of money for Vaulted. A great partner this season. Fun way to watch games on Sundays. All right, guys. Have you ever dicked out anybody before?
That's a segue right there. Not presently, no.
Curb Your Enthusiasm came out, and
we've
been laughing about the new episode of Curb this weekend. Where does it rank for you in best shows, on your pantheon of shows?
I actually think it's my favorite show ever because it's that or Seinfeld, and this one is just like, it just hits you a little harder. It seems to be more of an acquired taste. Like Seinfeld's for everyone. This show is like, this one's for the hardcores.
I'm going to give you a weird take. I haven't actually said this out loud before. All my candidates, my Mount Rushmore, legitimately, is all from the Seinfeld universe. There are 4 that I'm going to name.
Okay.
Are you a big old Christine fan, potentially?
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Curb.
Yep.
Veep.
For sure.
Incredible, yeah.
And Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which
I've never seen Always Sunny.
A different generation's version of Seinfeld.
I've never seen that show.
Brilliant.
Make time for it. I actually today just saw the clip of them doing the contest.
Yeah.
That just got passed around today.
They've done a Seinfeld episode, but
Office
it's
for me
a
is
new
always
generation's version.
Yeah, Office is great.
But I would put those 4 at the top, and I think whichever one I'm currently watching is my answer.
The Curb episode, I don't find myself at any show laughing as hard in scenes.
Yeah.
It feels so real. I would be, and maybe it's because I'm an old curmudgeon at times. Like I would be angry to things Larry's angry at all the time. Like Siri not working properly, like butt dialing someone, like just the awkwardness of like the Brookie thing. Like I would feel the same way.
They spent a lot of minutes on that, and I was up for it.
Yeah.
Like, they kept going back, and I was like, we're never going to see this actress again, but we're still doing it.
So can I bring my nitpick?
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm reluctant to do this because this might, well, whatever. If you're watching now.
Yeah, if you're an hour in, good for you.
Yeah. Okay, so the Brookie thing.
Uh-huh.
Carl comes over.
Yeah.
And Larry's having a Larry exchange with that guy, Carl.
Right.
And Carl's clearly not interested. But remember, the whole premise of the scene is that all of these people are here
To see Larry.
to be cordial and to mingle with Larry David, who they understand is Larry David.
Right.
They want to have that kind of an interaction with Larry David, and then he gets the interaction he's looking for, and he's turned off by it.
But Brooke's also turned off by Larry David too.
Right, which makes no sense. Like, so
Well, no,
basically
wait,
the show is eating itself.
I thought the point of that trip to Atlanta was because of the actress, and Larry just tagged along essentially.
But it's stated that they all want to meet Larry, and they're fans of Larry, and they know Larry's work, and Larry is really Larry.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe that Carl doesn't know who Larry David is.
No, he did.
That's a very you're being a little. You're in the weeds now.
I'm too deep in the weeds.
I think on this one, yeah. No, Matt.
He's
I don't know.
pondering.
I'm thinking hard about it, but I just that scene. I still am wondering why they went, like, what the real reason they went to Atlanta was. I think as soon as we saw the mugshot in the credits, I was like, oh, that's why we did all this.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny because there's some stuff that they do in this show now where they're purposefully like wasting your time, like the walk down the hallway that I was mentioning off air, where they were just like, we're gonna make this uncomfortable for a little bit too long, and that's just what you do in your last season. You're like, fuck the audience.
I mean, isn't the payoff the Atlanta thing, like the dog and the butt dial? I mean, the whole thing at the end is why they went, right? I mean, that all pays off.
Yeah, but that could have been in L.A. Like, for it to be in Fulton County and for this like stupid law, like they've like crossed over into the real world in like these really interesting ways.
I think you're right, and I think that I think Larry is, and if you listen to Larry on Simmons, you can tell that he gets the greatest pleasure out of the interweaving storylines and having an arc to each season. And I think, I don't know how many episodes there will be, how far in
the rest will pay off.
I think he's betting that they will be in like a county courthouse in Atlanta in several weeks, making some giant Trump joke, because that will be what's going on in our real world at that time.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
they've already filmed it, right? Or they haven't filmed the rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I wonder though if
it's not like this podcast where they walk in, go
2 seconds before.
Close enough.
If you had to put a futures bet down for the MVP of the final season of Curb,
Oh, it's always Leon.
it's Leon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's sort of like the
outside of
Kelsey
Larry.
of
I mean,
the
outside
show.
of Larry. I mean, there's no one. But Leon's A game is just incredible. It's
His highs are so high.
It's so good. And
Him calling that corgi a fat ass, like lazy piece of shit, was like unbelievable.
he's like, the dog doesn't even notice. The dog just looks at you. Dude, Leon. Oh, it's so good. One of my favorite scenes ever too was when Leon's family. Was it when Leon first came? When his family first came, and he's like, and they're like, we're the blacks, and he's like, Larry Jew. So he's like, oh, like Larry Jew. And he's like, no, my last name is actually Black. Oh my god, it's just such an incredible show.
Yeah.
Well, is it going to be? Are we watching it after the Super Bowl, or are we going to take a break and watch it on Monday
instead of the Super Bowl? I think.
Wait, is it going to be? It'll be on
Super
Sunday
Bowl.
night. It'll be on.
Yeah.
They don't delay it.
Yeah, West Coast, man. That's what we get.
Isn't
Super Bowl's over at what, 6:30?
Oh yeah. I'll have to. Yeah, it'll be over at near 10 for me. Just the sad part about
right.
because that's how time zones work. You got it. You set your calendar for one time in LA, and it's a whole different time.
I know. Maybe I wasn't.
Well, maybe I should be looking
at
at you while I say that.
Maybe I was firm enough.
Yeah.
I always knew what my schedule was.
Okay.
I always knew that my heart out today was 1 o'clock.
Okay.
All
right, well-
that Larry David meme where he's like,
Geoff, are we going to get together and talk about this? I like doing this with Matt because then I just sit here and watch him say stuff that's smart. Are we going to do this next week and recap, or are you going to go on vacation? You going to Mexico? What's happening?
Mexico, March 7th. So I'm good. I'm good for next week. Yeah.
Okay, great. So
I mean, but then again, my wife doesn't even care.
you going to go to the parade if they win?
She's parade?
Yeah.
No.
No, Niners parade.
If I can go with Nick, I'd go because Nick gets all the cool access.
What about Mitch?
They went. He doesn't. I guess he gets the access. He was on. I think he went to the parade last year. Did my brother go last year?
I feel like yeah.
But Nick, they brought the whole show there last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for next year in New Orleans though, because it's a Fox Super Bowl and it's gonna be rowdy. I'm only going to Vegas for a couple of days this week, thankfully, because a week in Vegas would just wreck me.
That's what I'm saying. Something dumb is going to happen this week.
Like
you're going to get some alert that's like this reporter is
for
naked
sure.
on top of the Paris Eiffel
And
Tower.
they also gave the media the Excalibur and the Luxor for hotels.
Oh my god,
Just
a fate worse than death.
Excalibur and Luxor. The Luxor hotel was $45 a night.
That's too much. It's the worst place on earth.
My wife stayed,
respectfully.
I think my wife stayed there for one of the EDM concerts because it's across the street from the airport. So she took the helicopter out to the speedway.
I don't know what the hell you just said. I think we got to go
I
now.
think my brain just broke.
We're out of here, guys. Enjoyed the live show. Maybe I'll come to LA more often.
Yeah, this is
I don't know.
great.
It's 97 degrees in this room,
I
but it's
haven't
still worth
mentioned how
it.
that I'm sweating profusely.
I'm very uncomfortable.
Nonetheless,
Victor
all right,
hung
guys.
himself 10 minutes ago.
Victor's wearing a sweatshirt. That's his fault. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs.